Hello friends, KangasCloud here, and I have something I really want to talk to you guys about. As you know, I have a lot of Pokemon content on my channel. I mean a lot of Pokemon content. What this means is that I play a lot of Pokemon. I really love this game, and I have ever since it came out in the mid-90s. You could say these little monsters stole my heart from day one, and there are a lot of people that feel the same way. If you search around on YouTube or Twitter or Reddit, actually just stay away from Reddit. Don't go on Reddit. You'll find a whole community of people voicing their own love and appreciation for this little band of pocket monsters. But what you might not realize is that there is a controversy in the Pokemon community that runs so deep that it threatens to tear apart the entire fabric of organized gaming. Okay, maybe it's not quite that serious, but it does start to get people at each other's throats. What I'm talking about is the issue of genning in the game of Pokemon. Now, for those of you who don't really know what I'm talking about, let's start with a quick crash course on the game itself. In the game Pokemon, the basic idea from the get-go was that when you're old enough, you begin a journey that takes you around the world to catch a variety of different creatures of varying types and special abilities. You spend time training these creatures, called Pokemon, to grow stronger and learn different moves. Eventually, you encounter other trainers of their own unique group of 6 specially grown Pokemon, and you ultimately compete with each other by battling your monsters against theirs. It's brutal or cute, depending on your sense of humor, but no matter which way you look at it, I think we can all agree that it's addictively fun. And this was the basic format in the very first round of games, called Generation 1. Also, if we're being honest, it's the same format for Generations 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the idea. Fun, addictive, and repetitive. Where have I seen that before? But even though the games are, in theory, basically the same story every time, after the first generation, the developers started to make slight but very significant changes in the way you create your Pokemon teams. They introduced move tutors that could teach your Pokemon rare attacks, methods of catching what are called shiny Pokemon, hidden abilities that allowed them to play different roles in your party, but most importantly, they allowed you to breed your Pokemon so that they might obtain moves and characteristics your monsters otherwise couldn't achieve simply by being caught in the wild. I'd like to say that the game went all scary sci-fi on us, but these things are just too cute for that. This was great for kids who played the game in its entirety and wanted nothing more than to create a team unique to them, like having a genetically perfect Psyduck with a jolly nature who also knows the move Cross Chop. But the biggest problem? The time it takes to breed successfully. In order to do this, you need to obtain a variety of rare items. You need to train specific Pokemon to certain levels, and you need to endure what could be days of trial and error. For some, this isn't a problem. I mean, for those who have hours and hours to spend in front of their game doing nothing but hatching eggs until the right one pops up, time constraints mean nothing. But for the rest of us who have school, work, or just other things going on, breeding Pokemon the quote-unquote right way isn't something we usually even get to consider. And this, my friends, is where the issue of genning comes in. You see, what genning allows you to do in the game is bypass all of the steps involved with catching, breeding, and leveling up Pokemon by using software that admittedly hacks the game to create Pokemon from thin air and place them into your game save file. And I know what you're thinking at this point. Well, that's cheating, right? I mean, you hacked into a game and altered its content, going against the game's own programming. That has to be cheating! And the answer to that question is, well, kind of yes, and kind of no. You see, to clearly answer this question, we first need to establish what the game actually is. Pokemon was never self-contained, like your typical console RPG that came out of the 90s. Since its inception, an aspect of community and cooperation with other real-life people has been in place. Kids had to trade with each other from one game to another to obtain Pokemon that were exclusive to certain versions, and certain Pokemon only evolve to their stronger forms when they're traded. And one of the biggest selling points of this game is that you could challenge other people, not just in the game, but in real life to a Pokemon battle, pitting your unique team and strategies against theirs. One could argue the actual physical copy of the game is just one of many tools in playing the game of Pokemon itself. To further prove this point, just look at the trading card game that was developed around this concept, a very lucrative and glossy franchise, I'd just like to point out. In this version, players collect cards and battle against each other. I mean, instead of actual Pokemon, they use cards. And it's still fun, and they're still playing Pokemon, just a different version of the game. Okay, I can hear your thoughts now, but Kanga, your argument is invalid. If people created fake cards in the Pokemon trading card game, like they alter Pokemon by genning, it would also be cheating. And I just want to stop for a quick sec and congratulate you on what analytic thoughts you have. But here's the question I pose to you. Would this be cheating if everyone involved playing the game agreed that the fake cards could be used? Now, obviously, any tournament licensed by the Nintendo Corporation would never allow this because they make the cards. We love you, senpai. And that's a whole big discussion for another time, because that brings up issues of addictive card games, the ethics of marketing collections to children, and many other things that would make this video way longer than it's already about to be. But what if you're just playing for your own entertainment or the entertainment of others? And this brings us back once again to the issue of genning in Pokemon. Pokemon is a community game, now played by a global community. As a community, we have established our own sets of rules and even tiers when we battle. Some people may not agree with those things, but hey, you can't please everyone. The point is, as players of the game, when we play against each other, we are free to establish our own conditions, whatever we want them to be. If we agree to only bring Bidoofs to a battle, for instance, and a player brings a Mewtwo, then yes, they are cheating, because they broke the rules that we established and agreed upon. And playing competitive Pokemon is no different than this. When you see Pokemon YouTubers battling against each other for leagues, for Wi-Fi battles, or for whatever other reason, they are doing it for the entertainment of the viewer. But more importantly, they agree on the rules of the battle before it ever reaches your eyes. And now, getting back to the original point, if we can agree that the game of Pokemon is much more than just the physical copy of the game, then it seems reasonable to also suggest that when a player gens for competitive use to play against other players who gen Pokemon, they are still playing the game of Pokemon, and they aren't cheating, because they're just playing a different version of the same game. And in the long run, it makes the game better for everyone, including Nintendo, by making it possible for leagues, tournaments, and other types of Pokemon play to exist. All of these things only deepen the greater Pokemon community's enjoyment of the game. So the next time you want to go on the internet and try to make someone feel bad by telling them they are cheaters who are ruining your favorite game, just remember that what they do doesn't really affect you, unless you watch their YouTube content, in which case, well, they're doing it for you anyway. But others genning in no way means that you can't play the game however you see fit. So let's all just take a deep breath and try to see the world and the world of Pokemon in more ways than one. Of course, this is all just my opinion. Feel free to share yours down in the comments below. And if this was just a little too serious for you, go ahead and check out my last Pokemon Theory video, which is sure to blow your mind. As always though, this is KangasCloud going back to the Shroud. Bye bye.